When I say 10x software engineer, what comes to mind? Someone who writes 10 times more code? Maybe someone who works 10 times longer? Or maybe you think of this. Developers. Okay, maybe not this. But whatever it is, being a 10x coder is likely not as hard as you think. In this video, we're diving into the real differences between the average Joe and that one mythical super programmer you know. Let's break it down.
When I got here, I dominated. They thought I worked 100 hours a day. Now, no matter what time I get in, nobody questions my ability to get the job done.
Okay, let's start with the obvious, technical skills. A 10x programmer is better versed in data structures, algorithms, and system design than your average engineer. But that doesn't mean they know 10 times as many data structures or algorithms. They just have a deeper and more intuitive feel for the underlying code. For instance, while a 1x engineer may have surface level understanding of what a hash map is, a 10x engineer knows how to implement it from scratch, including creating a novel hashing function. As a result, 10x engineers are able to choose the right tool for the job and write code that's scalable and maintainable, while a 1x engineer might write code that works but is often messy or inefficient. The difference isn't speed, but precision and depth. The truth is, a 10x engineer spends less time coding and more time planning. I mean, you wouldn't just walk into a grocery store without a grocery list, right? Well, maybe some of you would. The next major difference is productivity. It's not always about working harder, it's about working smarter. A 10x engineer doesn't necessarily work the hardest, but they prioritize the highest impact work first and tend to automate repetitive tasks to save time down the road. On the other hand, a 1x engineer tends to start with the easiest task and doesn't value automation. Although it seems obvious, it's not easy to recognize. I mean, how many times have we navigated through the same website manually, typing in the search bar instead of saving it as a bookmark? Or what about highlighting a line of text manually instead of triple clicking it? Eventually, these small things add up. It's shortcuts like these that end up saving brain power and time down the road. A 10x engineer often delivers more in less time, not because they're superhuman, but because they make every minute count. A common misconception is that the best software engineers work alone. But 10x engineers are not lone wolves. They're multipliers, sharing knowledge, mentoring teammates, and improving team processes. They have a team-oriented mindset and recognize that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. If every team member only prioritized themselves and operated like Carmelo Anthony, their teams would also appear ringless too. When it comes to problem solving, the gap between a 1x and 10x engineer really starts to shine. A 10x engineer doesn't just fix bugs, they solve the root cause and anticipate future issues. They think holistically, understanding how every change impacts the larger system. It's not about solving problems, it's about solving the right problems. Although, if anyone's got some spare time on their hands, I got something I could use the help on. Okay, maybe it's time to just buy a new one. Okay, finally, let's talk about something you've been waiting for, code. A 10x engineer's code isn't just functional, it's also clean, modular, and well documented. They write in a way that's easy for anyone to quickly understand. Think back to that one teacher in school who would explain the hardest topics in the simplest way. No one wants reading code to be harder than it already is, unless of course you're a competitive programmer. I mean seriously, what is this? But 10x engineers do simple things in extraordinary ways. This can be in how they focus in error messages, variable naming, code reviews, and even caffeine consumption. Maybe. On the other hand, a 1x engineer might write code that works today but becomes a nightmare to debug or scale tomorrow. They just get the work done as soon as possible, like going to the DMV on a Saturday morning. Last but not least, a 10x engineer never stops growing. They're curious, they experiment, and they're quick to adopt new tools or technologies. They're not afraid to step out of their comfort zone and try something new, just for the sake of learning. They don't expect to know everything the first time, and they're comfortable in the unknown. For instance, instead of being scared of AI, they find ways to leverage it and to increase their productivity even more. So, what makes a 10x engineer? It's not just about technical skills or working harder. It's about thinking strategically, collaborating effectively, and delivering long-term impact. Anyone can be a 10x engineer. It's about mindset, habits, and continuous growth. And the truth is, the average Joe programmer doesn't always add value to a team, which means being a net positive, no matter how small, can already make you a better programmer than average. But that was my take on 10x programmers. Let me know if you agree or disagree. But if you disagree, please don't roast me in the comments. Thanks for watching.